Who are you quitting porn for? It's a question we oftentimes don't ask ourselves. Everybody's caught up on the how and the why. How do I quit porn for good? How do I stop with this destructive behavior and habit in my life? And why? Why is this important to me now? Why is it important that I must do it now and not later, not 6 months, not a year down the road? But what if we got clear on who we were doing this for? Oftentimes I believe it's the who in our lives that we're doing things for that could drive us and motivate us to endure, to persevere, to stay vigilant, to stay disciplined in order to do the things that are necessary. Oftentimes you hear from fathers and they talk about how looking at their child for the first time changes their perspective and changes their outlook on life. Now they have somebody else that is relying on them. Now they have somebody else that they are responsible for. So, gentlemen, in today's episode of The Rebuild Man, I want to talk to you about the 3 people that you should be quitting porn for and how getting clear on these and beginning to tap into this motivation for yourself and for your freedom may be the missing piece and missing link in your recovery. Guys, before we do that, if you're new here and you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Did you know that 62% of our viewership comes from non-subscribers? We drop 3 episodes of this podcast every single week on this video platform. So make sure to hit subscribe, turn those post notifications on. And guys, if you're listening on the audio side and you're getting value out of these episodes, take a moment after today and leave us a 5-star rating and written review so we can continue to grow, continue to spread this message and help the world and help all the men that are struggling in the world get free and create their own porn-free life. Guys, but there's 3 people I believe you should be quitting porn for. And they're probably not the people that you're thinking of right now. I can tell you who it's not. It's not your wife. You're not quitting porn for your wife. Will your life benefit or will your wife's lives benefit from you quitting porn? 100%. But she cannot be the source of your motivation, whether it's your current wife or your future wife. It's not your parents. It's not your boss. It's not your coworkers. It's not your employees. All of those people's lives will improve and will benefit by you becoming who you need to be. But I can tell you first who the most important person is that you're quitting porn for. And it's the version of yourself that you are right now. You must quit porn for you and you only right now. And this is why it's important for us to get clear and begin to unpack and identify all the ways in which porn is holding us back from becoming who we can be. How has porn limited your personal growth? How has porn limited your financial growth? How has porn limited your relationship and intimacy growth? How has porn held you back from pursuing the things that you know you were put on this earth to do? Those are the answers right now. That is the version of yourself that you could be right now. If you got clear on what needed to be done and you were willing to put in the work. So the first person you must quit porn for is the version of yourself you are and are not yet today. And by getting clear on who you can be today, you're also going to need to get clear on who you can be in the future. So the second person is the version of yourself 3 to 5 years in the future. Whether or not you ever thinking about it, you hold a relationship right now with the person that you will become in the future. Understand that the person in the life that you are living today is a byproduct of every single choice, decision, and action you've taken leading up to this point, which means that your future life will be dictated by the choices, decisions, and actions that you begin to take today. And if you want a different reality for yourself in the future, you have to begin to take different steps and take different actions. So understand that there's a relationship with that person. And understand that the only way you're going to change The future life for yourself is by making choices and decisions today that are aligned with the best version of who you can be. And there's no other way around it. You will not have a different reality in the future if you continue to make the same choices and decisions today. So you have to start thinking about that. We have to start thinking about, how does what I do and or don't do today change the trajectory of the life that I am living and building for myself? So the second person you need to get clear on why you're quitting porn for is the future version of yourself. And number three, and I think that these actually go in sequential order. I think early on in your journey and in your recovery, it needs to be for yourself today and nobody else. Then once you begin to build some success and you begin to have a track record and you're 2-3 months into this process, then you begin to think about, okay, how am I going to continue to live this out for the rest of my life? Making bigger, better choices for the future. So you begin in the now. You begin thinking about the present version of yourself. Then you expand out and begin to think about the 3 to 5 year version of yourself. Then you reach a certain point where this becomes who you are, and you don't have to pay as much intentional focus on making better choices and decisions for yourself, because you are on an aligned path with creating the best life and becoming the best version of yourself. Now you begin to think about the impact that it's going to have on the legacy of your life. Okay. And after 5 years of freedom in my life, this is where I'm at. I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not yet a father, but it is the number one thing that I think about and pray about every single day. I'm waiting for that day that God blesses me with a son, with a daughter. And the choices and decisions that I make about who I'm becoming right now are in line with the person that they deserve in their life. I don't want to let them down. I want to make sure that I can help prevent them from falling into the same destructive patterns that I did for myself. Because here's one thing I talked about openly is growing up, I looked around the men in my life. I looked around the rich men, and I saw guys that were struggling with alcohol, struggling with drugs, struggling with mental health, struggling with suicide. I didn't let any of that make me a victim, though, but it was the lineage that I came from. So today I'm on a mission to change the meaning of the last name. I had a great conversation with Fred Stoker. He came into our community and he spoke to the men. Fred is the author of the book, Every Man's Battle. 20 years, he has been helping men get out of the shackles, helping men create freedom in their life. His book was one of the first books in the Christian space discussing this topic from a practical perspective. Fred and I connected, and there was something deeper in our relationship because he was set on creating a legacy within his family. And he was so grateful to share with me that he's got 2 grown adult sons now, that neither one of them ever struggled with it. I said, Fred, I admire that so much of you. I can't wait to have that in my life. Maybe you're already a father right now and you're struggling with this. You need to focus on doing for yourself now, then begin to think about the future version of yourself. But you better quickly begin to think about the children that you're raising. Because here's what we know, the average age of first exposure right now is 8 to 11 years old. And I don't see that slowing down anytime. So these children are going to see it. But are you going to be able to provide a safe place where they can have the real, open, and necessary conversation about what's going on? Will you be able to give them the tools needed if they get caught up and are struggling with it? So we need to quit porn for ourselves today. We need to begin to create a life for ourselves into the future. And we need to begin to establish a life that we become the man that will create a legacy of freedom for our name, for our family's name, and for the other men that we help out of this. Think about it, guys. Have you ever asked yourself the question, who am I trying to quit porn from? I give you the three most important people here today. Now it's up to you and what you do with it. And I want to give you some tools to create a vision for your life. Maybe that's a missing piece, and maybe you're missing that right now. So if you visit rebuiltrecovery.com/vision or click the link down there in the show notes below, I'm going to take you to a free 5-part training that we put together where I walk you through all the steps on getting radically clear and focus in on who you can become. We're going to solve the second relationship for you in this training. And in order for you to do that, you have to know where you are today. So the first relationship is going to be established for you as well. And this will begin to help you create the freedom in your life so you can begin to think about that third relationship in your life. Rebuiltrecovery.com/vision. Click the link down there in the show notes. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on the audio side. 5-star rating and review, guys. We truly, truly would appreciate that. But God bless you guys. Coach Frank at The Rebuilt Man. We love you. We'll see you in the next one.